Okay, if you remember last time we talked about WEP, and then if you remember the algorithm that we are using in WEP is RC4. We are using RC4 to generate the key, basically. Actual encryption is exclusive OR. For integrity, we were using CRC32. Okay? So what are the problems with the WEP? Actually, we discussed that one, and we said that RC4 or the stream cipher key usage or the key sizes are not enough. What was the key size that RC4 is using? 40-bit secret, 24-bit in clear, that is IV. Total is 64 bits, which is not good enough for today's applications. As I said, today's standards for key sizes for AES algorithm is 128 bits. So compare 128 bit, 40 bit. 40 is really, really short. Okay? And then the other important thing was CRC32. We said that CRCs are not detecting all possible errors. Okay? And also we said that there is an authentication problem and the key distribution problem. How am I going to get the KAB that we saw in the previous presentation, if you remember? So let's have a look at those problems together. First of all, first one, weak implementation of the RC4 symmetric encryption algorithm. That means that WEP keys are easily obtained due to its short implementation lengths, because 40-bit is going to repeat itself eventually. Okay? So when they start repeating, remember in stream ciphers we said that the key will never be reused. But over here, after some amount of packages, key will be reused. If you have enough samples, you can easily get the keys back. Okay? Although WEP protocols allows up to 104-bit keys, key length still is not enough. Okay? Typical wireless device is going to use 64-bit RC4 key stream, which is 24-bit IV in clear form and 40-bit secret key. As I said, this is not going to be easy. This key is going to be shared by wireless devices and their access points. Okay, their access points. And with enough Snoop packages, as I said, it is going to be easy for cryptanalysts to retrieve the key. That is the case for RC4 anyway. So that is first weakness. That means that either you have to find a way, okay, to improve the security of the keys. So you're going to allow RC4 to have more keys, okay, or you're going to change the algorithm. Okay, or you're going to change the algorithm. That's going to be the solution. But if you change the algorithm, these are in your wireless modems. Okay, that means that you have to change the modem too. And it's a big deal. I mean, imagine one day someone will tell you that, okay, you cannot use your wireless modem anymore. You have to go and buy new wireless modems. That's not going to work, believe me. Okay, that's not going to work. So, but we will see what we're going to do. Okay, we're going to have two solutions. We're going to improve the RC4 key lengths. We're going to make the keys a little bit more random. Okay, but at the same time, we're going to change the algorithm. Okay, we're going to change the algorithm. So we're going to provide two solutions. And those two solutions is going to come in IEEE 802.11i protocols. Okay, so that you don't have to change your modems in one day. It's going to be compatible with the WEP, but at the same time, it is going to come on with the new algorithm. Okay? And what is today's standard algorithm for this kind of encryptions, symmetric encryptions we call it? What is the name of the algorithm that we are using? Standard? AES, Advanced Encryption Standards. Okay? So, well, actually, we're going to change this RC4 with AES. So, today's modems are going to use AES algorithm. Okay, AES algorithm. Okay, the other important thing is CRCs, 32-bit CRCs. Computes non-cryptographic value, which is vulnerable to side channel attacks. What is the meaning of side channel attacks, guys? Any idea? Well, there's going to be very good entry for your what? For your e-portfolio. Go and check this side channel attacks. Okay, go and check this side channel attacks. They are really, really nice attacks. Okay. But what we can do over here is that while changing the CRC32, you're going to change the content of the message. Okay, you're going to change the content of the message in a way that you're going to produce the same CRC like in original message. So when you send the changed message to destination, destination will not be able to understand any changes in the original message. That is possible for CRC32s. So you're going to make some changes in the message in a way that it is going to produce a CRC similar to the original message CRC. Okay? If you can do that, you can break this algorithm. And actually, you can do that. So what we need in cryptography, in security, is we're going to create something like CRC, but that is going to be unique for that message. That is going to be unique. So there will be very low possibility, very low possibility. I'm not saying impossible, okay, nor no possibility. There will be very low possibility to get the same output, okay, let's say that ICV output for a different message. That's going to be very, very low. For that matter, in cryptography, we are using hash algorithms, like SHA-1, SHA-512, okay, MD5. These are the algorithms which produces unique ICVs for each message. So there is very low possibility that you can find two different messages, but that produces those two messages have the same SHA output, for example. You are not going to get it. Possibility is going to be very, 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 very low. Okay? So we're going to use those kind of stuff to improve this, because this is clearly not good for cryptographic applications. Clearly not good. Okay? Right. And the other thing is that you may ask this question, I mean, didn't they know that? Right? While they were designing this? Well, of course they knew. Okay? Of course they knew. But the problem for this one is cyclic redundancy check, calculation of cyclic redundancy check is quite fast. Okay? But the calculation of the hashes or any cryptographic material to calculate these ICs is not that fast, or those not that fast. Okay? So there was a performance problem. In the past, wireless devices were very limited as far as power is concerned, CPU power is concerned. Okay? So they decided to use this one. But right now, as I said, laptops are much more powerful than most of the desktops. Okay? So you can use hash algorithms or any cryptographic algorithm that's not going to affect the performance of your wireless device. But this is not true for PDA or cell phone type of wireless devices. Those devices may have some problems in the computation of these cryptographic values. But as far as wireless is concerned, okay, wireless laptops are concerned, for example, right now we're going to remove the CRC and we're going to replace it with some hash algorithms, which is going to generate, that is important, guys, which is going to generate a unique ICV value for a given message. Okay, for a given message. Okay, compromises. This way we're going to avoid this integrity problem, because this one, CRC, is not going to provide quite a good integrity. Okay? What else? The ability of the crackers to spoof broadcast MAC addresses. MAC addresses are sent in clear form. Okay? So if you can get the MAC address, and if you can spoof, I mean, if you can change the MAC address of your modem, you can actually impersonate someone else's identity. Okay? So as you see, an attacker has to do is to use wireless NIC card with the sniffed MAC address. Okay. Again, this is a very good e-portfolio entry. How are you going to do that? How can you change the MAC address of the NIC card. Okay. Is it easy? Or is it difficult? So let's have a look, right? I mean, this is kind of hacking technique. You're going to spoof the MAC address, or you know the MAC address of someone else's, but how are you going to use someone else's MAC address? How are you going to impersonate their identity? Over here, it says that it is possible. My question is, how it is possible? Okay? How this thing can be done. Okay, go ahead and check it. Okay, consequences. Attacker can pose as an unauthorized user and connect onto the network. So in other words, it's going to impersonate the identity of someone else, basically. Okay? And fourth weakness, or fourth problems with WEP is the default configuration of 802.11.1 deployed products disables WEP. So they come with the disabled WEP. So you have to make it enabled. Okay? But if you don't know the security, and if you are an average, ordinary person who doesn't have any idea about these WEPs, keys, securities, and all those kind of stuff, they are going to keep it as disabled. Okay? So the default configuration is not WEP enabled, in other words. Default configuration is WEP disabled. Okay? Although WEP is unable to provide complete security with proper configuration, it does provide an enhanced form of VLAN security. We are not saying that it is a good security, but we are saying there is some level of security. Maybe for the ordinary people it's okay. Okay? But if you are trying to exchange some sensitive information, like let's say that you work in a private company and that private company is a defense contractor or something like that, and then you are working in a secret projects, government-related secret projects, hey, it's going to be very difficult for you to transfer any file related to that secret project by using your wireless device, if your wireless device is using WEP. Okay? So you understand, security is a relative concept. When you say this is secure, relative to what? What is your security requirements? If you are just sending email, and if you are not hiding anything, okay, then this is going to be much more than you need. Okay? It's going to be much more than you need. But if you are exchanging top secret, government-related, defense-related, finance-related information, this is not going to be enough for you. Okay? You need more security. But if you want to access your bank account, okay, by using your wireless device and by using this protocol, then again this is not going to be providing you enough security. Okay? So you see, depending on what you are doing or what you are up to, security requirement is going to change. Okay, it's going to change. So that's why sometimes it's not easy saying today this is insecure, this is very secure. Hey, based on what? Okay, based on what? All right? And also network administrators must make sure that the default service set identifier, SSID, everyone knows that one, right? This SSID of the AP must be changed. Generally, people are not changing it. They are using the default SSIDs. Okay, but if they are using the default SSIDs, they might be in trouble. Because if it is not changed, attacker simply finds out the default SSID, okay, and thus access to the network is possible. Okay, is possible. So they can access to your network. And also AP's broadcast mode must also be disabled, okay, so that they are not going to broadcast their new SSIDs. Okay, new SSIDs. That's the other stuff. So you see that is the configuration part of the WEP. And fifth one is the actual physical access to the base station. Placement of APs has to also be considered, so where are you going to put these AP? Okay? Because that is you're going to put those stuff in a place that some attackers cannot reset your APs. Okay? To its default factory setting. Because if they can do that, they can access to your network. Okay? And how attackers can take advantage of AP's coverage areas? Because, I mean, most probably you have some neighbors, right? When you check the wireless networks around your neighborhood, you're going to find one wireless AP, okay, which is not configured properly, okay, and you can have access to internet without paying any money by using their APs, right? Because it's not going to require any password or anything. They don't have the security settings, because those guys don't know those security settings. It's like a public AP, so you can go there and you can use it, okay? So that is AP's coverage area. If you are in that coverage area, if you are getting the signal from AP, okay, and there is no security configuration on that one, you have the access to the network. We call that bleed over. I mean, I know some people who live very close to big corporations like Cisco over here, and like Google over there. If you have, I mean, when you go to their parking lot, for example, if you have a laptop, you can have access to internet, because their APs are bleeding over. The coverage area covers the parking lot and the neighborhood, actually. And people are using their APs, and they don't provide security because it is inside the company stuff. And this form of attack is called Wardriving. So there are hackers. They are driving in your neighborhood. Okay, they are driving in your neighborhood, and they are identifying APs which doesn't have good security configuration. And they mark the street. They mark the street, so that some other hackers can check those marks and can come there. They park their cars in the middle of night, and they can use your AP. Do we have any idea about those markings? Did you see any markings like that? Or do they have special markings? Go and check on the internet. You will see it. Okay? They have special markings. So if you see those marks in your neighborhood, watch out. Okay? Because those guys already visited your neighborhood and they identified some weak settings in your neighborhoods. And as I said, they have special 4 or 5 different markings, okay, available and known by the hacker world anyway. Again, go and check those stuff on the internet. You will see those things. Sniffing packets involves intercepting the packages, which in turn can be analyzed for the necessary information, of course. Sniffing is the basic thing to penetrate the networks. So what we are doing over here is the inboard driving. This is the corporate network AP, and the client outside of the office or some neighborhoods around Cisco or Google or something like that. If you are close to those, you can have access to this corporation APs, basically. Happens in corporate parking lots a lot, okay? And sniffing allows the bad guys to capture the packages, and they are using the cryptanalysts to gather information to penetrate the corporate network. Okay? And these things are not very, very highly sophisticated stuff, by the way. For example, how are you going to sniff wireless network packages or wireless network? You have to find a sniffer for that one. Right? So there are sniffers available. Let's have a look. If you do the Google search, for example, for Wardriving kits, okay, you will find this war walking kit, walking driving, same thing, okay, for beginners. It's going to cost you only $250. You can buy it. And you can check with these tools, you can check the neighborhoods that you are visiting, which APs are vulnerable. Okay? But if you are an advanced guy, now you are taking this class, this is going to be easy for you. Okay? You can go and buy the advanced one. Okay? It's going to cost you $350. So these things are available, in other words. Okay? So that's why in this course, your search on internet is going to play a very important role. You're going to find this type of stuff, and you will share the information with us. I mean, I checked it, this one a year ago. I don't know what is new right now. Okay, most probably there are some other new things available for this. Or maybe some of them are not. You don't have to pay money. It's going to come free. Okay, if it is software, for example. And for those kind of stuff, for software, for sniffing, we have air snort. Air snort. So with air snort, you can actually sniff see all the packages that is exchanged in the wireless environment. And you don't have to pay a penny for the air snort. Again, check on the internet. You will find a lot of sites that's going to provide or give you air snort free. Okay? Are we clear so far? All right. So, 5 major weaknesses. First, weak implementation of RC4, which is basically short key lengths, okay, or repetition of the keys, because 40-bit is not good enough. Second is CRC32, which is not good. Third is default settings. Fifth is MAC address broadcasting. Okay, so then you have to avoid those things to make the system a little bit better. But other problem that we are having with web, other important problem is the shared key authentication. Remember, we said that how we're going to authenticate each other in the web scenario. We said that Alice and Bob is sharing the key KAB, and that KAB secret is going to provide authentication. But my question was at that time, if you remember, before KAB, while you are distributing the KAB, how do you know that you are talking to Bob? Or how do you know that you are talking to Alice? Where is the authentication? Okay, before I'm going to do anything, basically. So for these kind of things, we have actually 2 types of authentication in wireless networks. One is called open system authentication, public VLAN. That means there is no authentication because it's open. Null authentication. If you go to the Union City in San Francisco, if you sit there and get coffee yourself, and then if you have a laptop, sit down there, you will get the connection to AT&T or Google or something like that. It's because someone is providing free internet access for that square. Or if you go to Starbucks, say, here we go, you are not paying anything. Most of the coffee shops, right now is offering open system authentication. No one is authenticating anybody, in other words. You are free to use the network. Problem with public LANs, I mean, this is the problem for public LANs because there is no authentication, everyone be there, and then you have to protect yourself if you are exchanging any sensitive information. Okay? And the other one is shared key. We're going to use the shared key with a challenge and a response. So there is a challenge and response protocol with a shared key. Okay? Challenge and response protocol with a shared key. This is called shared authentication process. What we're going to do is we're going to authenticate, there will be an authentication request by station, okay? And then the challenge request is going to come random 128 bytes by AP to the station. So station will say that, hey, I'm going to do I want authentication. And AP is going to send you 128 bytes random data, okay? Then I'm going to encrypt that data, and I'm going to send it back to AP. And AP is going to decipher that data. Okay, if the data is equal to or the same with this random 128 byte, they're going to authenticate me. For that matter, for this protocol, there is a registration required. If you are the registered user or subscriber or something like that to some access points, during that process, they are going to give you a key. Okay? And AP will have your key, and you're going to have your key. These keys are the same keys. So you're going to share it with AP. Okay? So every time when you try to log into that wireless network, okay, AP is going to send this random number. You're going to encrypt that one. You're going to send it back. And AP, by using your key, shared key, is going to recover this 128 byte. If it does recover 128 byte, clearly, then you are allowed to log into their system. Okay? This is very simple authentication protocol, basically. That's called challenge response. Okay? So what we are doing over there is this. Station is going to send authentication request. This is the AP. Okay? And AP is going to send a random number challenge, we call it, okay? And then response is going to come over here, okay, over here. So that AP is going to decipher this encrypted challenge, and it is going to compare these challenges, deciphered one and sent one. If these challenges are the same, that's the authentication. Yes, sir. Station is your laptop. Yes, your laptop. This is the wireless access point. Okay. So then, let's say that this is in Borders. Okay. But to access the Borders wireless network, you have to be a member, or you have to have a reward card or something like that. Okay. So when you get that card, they are going to give you a key. Okay. And then when you say that, hey, I want this, okay. When they send the random number, you're going to use that key to encrypt that random number. And that key is going to be registered over here as well. The network will know your key. This is the router, but this is not the router in your home. Okay? This is the router of Borders, for example. Okay? But this is just for controlled access. So with this way, they can actually allow people who are member of whatever that network is, basically. Most probably they are paying money or something like that. For example, AT&T wireless network. Okay? So when you go to if you get any access, internet access from AT&T, wireless AT&T, hey, most probably there will be this kind of authentication system. Yeah. Exactly. The key is going to be unique for the station, depending on the configuration. Okay, if this is a group access to some particular network, then it's going to be group key. But if it is a personal stuff, then it's going to be personal key. Okay? But anyway, this is not a big deal. If you are hacker, now you know the authentication protocol. Okay? Can you break this protocol? Can you break this protocol? Okay, I had a radio interview I think it was 5 years ago or something in Europe, and we were discussing this one, and I asked this question to the audience, okay, whoever is listening, and they solved this problem in 1 minute, and most of the response that we got came from the high school students, and they found it like this, as I said. They said, hey, because of this is not secure. So let's have a look together. Okay, this guy is sending me a random number challenge, right? I'm going to say that is random number. Okay, that's random. And I'm saying that this random number is going to be encrypted with the shared key. Did I mention any algorithm? So which encryption algorithm they are going to use? Which encryption algorithm we are using in WEP? No. RC4. We are using RC4 to generate the key for the encryption. That is XOR. So the actual encryption algorithm that we are using in WEP is exclusive OR. So that I'm going to exclusive OR this with the key that is shared between station and the AP. Right? Okay. So as a hacker, you know R, and you know this, because this comes from the response. Okay? So you know this, R, random number. That's first one. And the second one is encrypted random number. By using these two parameters, can you break this? Exactly. Yeah. If you XOR 1 and 2, okay, if you XOR 1 and 2, what's going to happen? KSA, exclusive OR R, exclusive OR R, the result is going to be, okay, they discovered your RC4 key that is supposed to be secret, or whatever that key is, because we said that it's a shared key and it is secret, okay? And even though if it is not used in WEP as an encryption key, let's say that this is a separate key, okay, for authentication, but now you don't have to pay any money to gain access to these guys. because you can use someone else's key, okay, to gain access to these guys. So either way, you are actually breaking the algorithm. You see, this is not very, very secure stuff. Okay, actually, it is very easy to break. It's a very well-known thing, this thing. If you have enough material with the XOR, you can always get these things by XORing same things together, basically. The R is over there, encrypted are over there. When you XOR these both things, these R's are going to cancel each other out. Well, the result is going to be 0. And the 0 exclusive or key is going to give you the key itself. So this way, you can break this. So in other words, in WEP, we don't have any secure authentication protocol. In a secure authentication protocol. So that's the idea anyway.